Hello everyone, my name is Chris. Roadhog has been a complete abomination in early seasons of Overwatch 2 because of his dangerous one-shot combination, and slowly but surely, with recent nerfs, turned into the worst character in the game. It feels like the balance team just wasn't being able to find a sweet spot for his current kit, and he's either insanely oppressive or straight up garbage. So they decided to do a partial rework to make the character fun, viable, and balanced at the same time. And mark my words, they will fail miserably, because you can't have something fast, cheap, and high quality at the same time. Reworking and balancing Roadhog can be an exceptionally difficult thing to do. How do you make a character good without changing his identity? What are the things you would change? I'll try to give my thoughts and ideas about that. First, we need to understand the limitation and possibilities of our character. I know for a fact that Roadhog will never be able to have a shield, just like Reinhardt or Sigma. Roadhog will never have armor, because he is an ultimate charge battery right from the start, and will be till the very end. I'm sure Blizzard will never go for a flaky route and change his backstory, because they absolutely care about their reputation, and that's the worst part. Honestly, it would be a complete hassle to add and change details, such as like removing a hook or perhaps giving him armor, so we will expect to have the same character with a little bit different abilities, and it's way easier to keep everything as is, because, you know, skins rework and all of that, people will like, it's just never worth it. And I feel like Blizzard is gonna remove something and then name it Roadhog 2, just like they did a year ago with Overwatch. Blizzard is notoriously great for that, and as a result we will be left with a slow tank with a hook that will do slightly different things. And let me give you my solution to the Roadhog problem. Before we start, we need to think about the things why Roadhog was either godlike or completely miserable when you had a one-shot potential. People would have to adapt, respect your presence, and act accordingly. Otherwise, they'd just die from cringe. Enemies would have to constantly be thinking about ways to dodge your deadly 7, 8, 9, 10 or whatever second cooldown, and they would have to play safer, they would have to play corners and never swing wide, and as a result, it will give your team more space to work with. Your DPS players will have an easier time carrying games because of off angles, high grounds, and supports that are standing behind will never be in danger, because imagine the Doomfist is jumping on you, is gonna be dead in a second because you can peel for the team as you are standing close. On the other hand, if you can't kill anything alone and your combination requires you to have 20 to 30% damage dealt before you even start an engagement, it makes the situation a lot worse than it was before, because in the current support power creep meta, where you can't kill anything because of incredibly high burst healing and all kinds of cool overpowered support abilities and crowd control like cleanse, lamp, sleep, stun, people will dash out, blink away, fade away, wraith out, slide away, jump, and teleport away, and as a result you're just standing there charging the enemy sojourn for 3 railguns, and your supports and squishes are constantly at the risk of dying because they are flying left and right. And you, as a viewer, might have a very genuine question. Chris, if you are so smart at pointing your finger at the problem, perhaps you have a solution for it. And let me tell you, I do. I have multiple solutions, from being completely mediocre ones that will fit everyone and everyone would say, yes, Slay Queen, to some really weird stuff, and at a certain point you would say that I'm completely crazy, but listen carefully, I'm gonna explain and it will blow your mind. His hook, which is his the most notorious ability, needs to be a combination between Widowmaker grapple and a Spider-Man web, so he can freely fly around the map and squash 200 HP characters with his big ass. Again, his hook needs to be a combination between Widowmaker grapple and a Spider-Man web. Period. Millions of players, and it's not an exaggeration, millions of players would try Overwatch 2 for the first time. And more than that, players who hated the game will return to finally see and witness the forgotten glory of the character we all loved. Of course, Balanced Team is just not good enough to implement such a genius idea. I'm gonna give them something down to earth, something that they can rely to. Roadhog Hook is gonna deal 0 damage. You heard me right, 0 damage. But you will have the ability to set up kills on squishes with your team. Perhaps make it longer, perhaps make it more stable, or keep it as is. Because we already have a DPS character in a support category, which is Illari. We have a tank character in a support category, which is Brig, and then you have a support/tank in the DPS categories, which is Mei, and then you need to nerf Genji, of course, in the mid-season patch, don't forget about that. But why don't we have a support character in a tank category? Oh, wait, I kind of forgot that every tank is not only a support now, but just very cosmetic and does not do anything. My bad. For a second, I thought I'm playing a character with adequate developers, but yeah, here we are. Blizzard, hello. We'll talk about follow-up abilities later, but I think it would be extremely fair. You would nerf supports, you would make Hook a higher skill floor, skill ceiling ability, and allow players to pull enemies, and then perhaps place them behind you, not on the side like you would do currently, perhaps behind you, so you can set up better kills on the enemy targets. You would nerf supports, and it will make all the difference. Players will have to respect you on the battlefield more, and perhaps ranked would be a better place. Imagine a situation where you are getting into a game and everyone is talking, they are like saying stuff like, oh yeah, pull in 3, 2, 1, and then your Mei plays a wall and you just devour that annoying like Ana player or Mercy player that's out of position for some reason. Isn't that beautiful? As an addition, you can also make him like climb walls like Genji and Hanzo. You can just say that he is an unwanted child and a bastard of the Shimada clan, like the third brother that they never knew exist, but there is the third dragon, a little bit overweight, but you probably can fix that, right? When it comes to his ability to self-heal, everything is very fine, although I would slightly buff him by giving him a cleanse effect on use to make things easier for him, because right now the biggest kryptonite to Roadhog is Ana's anti-nade, and if you were to simultaneously buff Roadhog healing and giving him cleanse and then nerfing Ana nade with perhaps lower the healing reduced from 100% to 50%, what a game we would have. What an absolute amazing game we would have. Also, you might add tough pork skin ability when you have better survivability for a short period of time when you sip that yellow thingy. Just like Orisa with her Fortify, but perhaps developers will be able to execute it in a different manner. Also, you can go for an enrage function where you are gaining more damage and or movement speed, so you can catch up on enemies and follow them up with your abilities. And let's talk about that. They are adding the new ability in the mid-season 7, a little bit later. They delayed it for 5 seasons in a row. We can wait a little bit more. What's the what's the deal with it, right? So there is already a precedent in Dota 2 where you have a character with ability to pull enemies closer to you, and his name is Pudge. Yeah, he can rot enemies up close, slowing them down and dealing damage over time. That might be an amazing addition to the 0 damage hook. Or a Spider-Man hook. Imagine you are flying up on Anna and slowly making her delete the game by infusing your magnificent aromas, like fragrant smell, like straight to her nasal thingies. Wasn't that gonna be beautiful for all those seasons when supports was an overpowered role? When it comes to the primary fire changes, I'm sorry, I'd give my big boy a vacuum cleaner 3000, just like every single housewife would want in her dreams. Imagine he would pull enemies closer to him with every shot instead of like backing them, or how would you say that? Yeah, knocking them away with her ultimate. We're gonna rework the ultimate as well, don't worry. So you slowly getting them closer to you, to an inevitable black hole that you possess on your left hand, right? The right hand is for the hook. So you pull them closer and then you hook them if they are in range, and then you set up for the team, and then you rod them together with your Mei slow and your slow, and that's just gonna be beautiful. Mwah. And what a game that would be. But no, in Blizzard they would just tighten the spread on your shotgun and make it a little bit better than it was before, because the current problem with the Roadhog is that your damage is equally distributed between each palette, and bigger model characters are receiving more damage because more things hit them. Rimple as that. And last but not least, his ultimate ability. I think it's absolutely fine. The whole hog is a fun ability to use, even against hard counters such as Arisa. You just wait for her to waste her spin and pop gold, and you can devour her alive without any problem. Although I would like to add the Pudge ultimate that we have in Dota 2, where you are hooking an opponent, getting him closer to your team with 0 damage, then rotting him slowly, and then as your ultimate hits that sweet 100% spot, you can start eating your opponent. Or as a side option, you can try to bash him like against the wall, maybe like have an animation where you take someone by their head and then like smashing it in the ground or into the wall, or like throwing it away. Wasn't that gonna be great? Or you go for the thing with bowling, right? You have a character, like imagine you caught Mercy flying up in the air. She's completely out of position, and you caught her lacking, right? And now you have your ultimate, and now you are playing bowling. You're gonna squash her like a bowling ball, right? And then you would try to go for a strike on enemies, and they will stun and deal damage on impact. So you let her go or throw her, just like this very strange Olympic type of sport when dudes are spinning around like crazy and then they're throwing the thingy. Yeah, that is okay, never mind. Okay, of course all of these abilities are gonna be channeling, so perhaps they can get cancelled by stuns, sleeps, and other funny things that we have in this game. But if we will get a nerf on supports, maybe we'll get that disgusting ability and reliably like make it work. Well, who am I kidding? Support players are buying more skins, and thus they will get all the goodies, while tank players are logging in to go through such a terrible feeling that literally nothing in the real world would faze them after. I would call it 1,000 tank game stare. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today's episode. See you in the next one. Take care.